Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we are celebrating International Day Against Drug Abuse. So our theme for this year is Better Knowledge for Better Care. So I'm your host, Caroline Wamaya, and today we have panelists from Blue Cross, ACPN, and SCAD. So I'm gonna ask them to introduce themselves. So I'll start with Daniel. Daniel, you'll introduce yourself this way. You your name, the organization you're working with, and then you tell us maybe you'll name 2 drugs that you know and their effects. Thank you so much, Daniel. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Wam. My name is Daniel Ayelabola from ACPN, Kenya, and I'm happy to be here. The second thing you told me to mention was 2 drugs that I know. One is alcohol, which is very detrimental to the productivity of young people. It has a very big developmental effect on the general economy of the country. And another drug I can mention is tobacco, which is also a big problem for development. It increases the burden of cancer and other non-communicable diseases together with alcohol. And I think these are things that we must really be careful about. Thank you. Wam?
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you. I'll go to Wilkister. Wilkister, kindly introduce yourself.
Hi. My name is Wilkister Mokua, and from SCAD, Students Campaign Against Drugs. So, okay. The 2 drugs I'll mention, one of them is marijuana or weed. This affects the mind of young people, especially. It affects generally, and again, it affects also the motor skills of a person if you can't coordinate things well. And another drug I can mention is cannabis. This affects even young people who are in school, especially, also their mind, and even make them to hallucinate. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Wilkister. Next, we go to Ishmael.
Thank you so much, Carol. Good afternoon. My name is Ishmael Shem. I work for Blue Cross. The drugs I know has already been mentioned, which is more common, but alcohol in different names, consumed differently, and also bang, and has been mentioned by Wilkister, and kuber, which is more often used by just placing under your lips, and that is really eating up on the gum and stuff like that, and so cancerous, both to the teeth, mouth, gum, things like that. Alcohol, which is a depressant, and over time use, all this leads to addiction, and so, yeah. Carol?
Thank you so much. So next, I'm going to ask you guys to at least briefly share with us what you do in your organization. What are you? Sorry, just explain to us briefly what you do. Ishmael, you want to go first?
Okay, thank you, Wamaya. At Blue Cross, I said I work for Blue Cross in Kisumu, Kenya. Blue Cross works basically with children, youth, and families that are affected by alcohol use, mostly substance use, but we major in alcohol as Blue Cross. Blue Cross is a group, an organization that is led by a group of professionals, health professionals, basically, who are working together with this, the affected and non-affected families, because we realize that if one of us is not affected directly or infected directly, we are affected by those who are drinking around us. So through prevention outreaches, we reach out to the whole family. Be it if one of the family members is affected, is using one of the substances, then it affects the whole family. But so we reach to the whole families with the message of hope and a way out of the addiction, especially for those who are already in, and then abstinence for those who are not yet started using alcohol. So we have developed manuals and guides, which guides us through the process of working with children and youth, both in and out of schools. And we those are life skill manuals, and we have also developed a hand tool for our facilitators to work also with the caregivers, whose manual also we have, because we believe that much as the children spend much time in the school or out there away from their parents also need to know how to handle their children even as they grow into the youth and into adulthood. So we also collect data to inform the policies that are guiding the policymakers within our community or the counties. And so we also work within those situations on the ground and engage through training and policy development within the government bodies that are the policy the bearers, the people who are supposed to enforce these policies, and to help them even as to reduce on demand and to suppress the supply for the substances that are used by the youth, the families, the adults, and the children. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned, I work for the Alcohol Control Policy Network, and it is, I would describe it as a network of organizations and like-minded people who have a concern about alcohol and its effect on the general development in our country. So a lot of the work that we do at the Alcohol Control and Policy Network, first of all, as I mentioned, it is a membership organization. So we have many organizations who work together with us, but we also have individuals who have a passion for alcohol control and prevention of alcohol, whom we work with. So the Alcohol Control Policy Network prioritizes working with the national government, with county governments, other relevant stakeholders, working within county technical working groups. But the main aim is normally to be able to develop evidence-based policies that help in improving public health. So our approach helps us to target communities, to engage authorities around public health issues, especially those that surround alcohol. For example, what has alcohol have to do with public health? We are very concerned with that. What does alcohol have to do with the environment? What does alcohol have to do with gender? What does alcohol have to do with sustainable development? What does alcohol have to do with youth? And so forth and so on. So generally, our main interest is in alcohol and alcohol control, and working with any other like-minded stakeholder to be able to develop alcohol control policies that are evidence-based. We also do research and you see, like the theme of today, better knowledge for better care. For the knowledge that we give out to be effective, it has to be very evidence-based. And how is it evidence-based? Is if we do research. So working with SCAD, working with Blue Cross Kisumu, working with other stakeholders that we normally work with is very important for us, because it helps enrich our work and enrich the information that we give out and help us inform our policy makers better. So in a nutshell, that is what we do. And we are happy to contribute here today. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you, Daniel. Could you just share with us some of the activities that you implement to promote knowledge on prevention?
Is that addressed to me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. As I mentioned, there's a lot of research and dissemination work that we do, obviously in collaboration with other stakeholders. And that I think is the primary, because that is how we're able to get the information that we share with policymakers, develop our information, the IEC materials, and facilitate knowledge exchange between counties. So at the very base, there is the research that we do that informs what information we give out. But generally, the knowledge is shared with, on social media, at the community level, with policymakers, with other duty bearers. And it is these kind of people and these kind of stakeholders that we think will be able to help us achieve what we want to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Wilkister, can you share with us about what you do and some of the activities that you engage in?
Okay, thank you so much, Wamaya. In SCAD is Student Campaign Against Drugs, is a non-profitable organization, as you all know it, and it works with young people, and most of us in the office, we're young people actually, and we work together. We as young people work together with other young people to implement activities or program, I can call them, in schools especially, and we have like 3 pillars that guide us. We deal with education. This is just basically empowering these young people with information on how they can make decisions that will help them or make them prevent getting into substance abuse. And those who are already in, how to help them go about, and even how they can get help. And also we work with their families, and also that is in like the parents. We talk to the parents back at home on how they can create a safe environment for these young people. And also in the schools we have these SCAD clubs, and under the SCAD clubs we also do peer education, where we train young people to go to reach out to their fellow on how they can prevent substance abuse there in school and even back at home. And we also do advocacy. We advocacy in the community, and we create awareness on some of these drugs and their effects and how they can go about it. And also we do research, in that we do research so that we can be able, together with the other, let me say, policy makers like ACPN, so that we can do research and get to know how we can go about, how we can assist these young people, and the data, how the data will help us to find and even create more policies that will work even in school and back in the communities where they live. And lately we've gone into mental health. Like we are expanding into mental health, because substance abuse is one of the mental disorders. So we are getting into mental health, and yeah, that is what we do.
Thank you so much, Wilkister. So this one goes to Ishmael. Ishmael, kindly share with us some of the challenges you are facing in promoting knowledge on alcohol and substance abuse prevention.
Because when you're addressing issues of prevention, alcohol issues, substance abuse, enforcement comes first in my mind, because we know that everything concerning drug trafficking, drug substance use, is on the docket where there is a law that has been put in place. I know for Kisumu, we have the Alcoholic Drinks Act, which is 2014. We have the one that is called the Mutulu Law, which was now devolved to every county. That's the one that Kisumu adopted their own. And as ACPN has been explained well with Daniel, that they help in developing these policies, that there are these laws that has been put in place to regulate use, sale, and consumption or production of the same. That enforcement of these existing laws is wanting, and that's one of the main challenges, even as we are promoting knowledge now. So also creating awareness of this existing law. You find most of them have been developed by the county government, but they have been put in the shelves. And so if you ask most of the people on the grassroots if they know anything concerning the law on drinking or substance use within the community, they are not aware. So the platform where this information can be passed through into the community is also a challenge. So we find it is in the hands of the few, and so I believe it's the same effort that Blue Cross is making to make sure that this the knowledge of this law is disseminated in a language that is easily understandable by the people who are the ones that are affected by the use of the substances within the community, and then when they get arrested, then they are read for the law. So also availability of the same, that the laws are there, but they are not available or readily available to the people, or they are not in the hands of the people, of the public. And so the challenge is when public participation is done, can it involve the knowledge dispersing for the same that exists for the guidance and direction for usage of the same. So I would say majorly is the enforcement, awareness, and availability of this information that we are now campaigning about to actually promote the awareness through knowledge, giving to the people, and sharing that knowledge with the people who really wants or needs to know. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you so much. Just gonna talk about the law enforcement wanting and also the creating of awareness is also not a big deal. So Daniel, over to you. Share with us some of the challenges that you face.
I mean, just in addition to what, in addition to what Shem's contribution, I think considering that our work is majorly dependent on development of alcohol policies, or contributing and facilitating and supporting to the development of alcohol control policies, we find that a big challenge for us is in, the big alcohol industry tactics and recent things like online marketing. These have posed a big challenge because then that means that most of the gains that we made with the alcohol control policy laws that had been mentioned earlier by Shem, it means that, especially during this lockdown, that a lot of these gains that we had made are now being reversed. So I would mention online marketing and some of the industry tactics. For example, they would come up with campaigns of sponsoring children, educational programs for children, which is not bad. But again, we cannot mix alcohol, the alcohol industry and children. The second thing is the alcohol industry also comes up with campaigns that seek to, partner with maybe NTSA for road safety, and alcohol and road safety do not go hand in hand. So just that dichotomy is what is a major challenge for us, being able to clearly make people understand that alcohol is detrimental to productivity, no amount of alcohol is safe, and countering the kind of narrative that is pushed by the alcohol industry online and on mainstream media. One.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Wilkister, there's a lot of misinformation. Example, there's a lot of myths and misconception about alcohol, prevention of alcohol and other substances. What do you think is promoting the spread of misinformation, in your opinion?
For me, I can say, I think mass media is contributing too much to this. In this sense, like we see many advertisements on alcohol and substance abuse, and it's just allowed. And then these young people, they just see, when they see that, it makes them think it's not that bad, so they feel it's not that bad to them. I can say media, and also I can say also these young people have no role models back at home. Whatever they see, maybe when they're having these family gatherings and all, they see it's okay to use alcohol, it's okay to use this drug. So I think that makes them feel it's not that bad. If people we are looking up to are doing it, so why not us? And also I can say some of them ignorance is also contributing so much in this. They are ignorant about the effects. They just see the immediate effect of maybe fulfilling whatever they want, or just making them feel good at the moment, but they don't know of the long-term effects that they are getting themselves into. Yeah, I can say that.
We talked about the role models and about so do you talk about the role models? Our youths are not well empowered on how to make decisions, and they are majorly involved in fear.
Sorry, kindly come again. There seems to be some background noise.
Okay. Wilkister.
Yes.
I was saying that we talked about media and role models. So you think maybe our youths are not empowered for themselves,
I'm not
right?
getting this.
Okay. Ishmael, can you please respond to that? The misinformation. What do you think leads to promoting the spread of misinformation?
Thank you, Wamaya. And the first thing that for me comes to mind when there is misinformation is that there is the lack of truth, which carries a myth with it, and people want to believe anything or believe in someone who probably will want to tell them something, and they have heard from this person before something which was true, so anything that is subsequent to it is true to them. So, and those with the information also do not read the whole script. So they might want to have one information and run with it, and which is not the whole truth. And probably you stopped midway and did not convey the whole information. For example, if there is any research, you need to actually read the whole of the research document and know where the truth is and where there is no truth. Then there is also using recovery testimonials. I would say recovery testimonials are, for example, let's say you're handling a group of youth who are probably, that have already started indulging in using substances in their lives. And then you bring me, who is a recovered addict, to tell them my story. So that maybe in your end result, you want them to see how it is bad, but then it always ends with a good ending because now I'm recovered. And so they would want to really gauge and see where they are at now and say, if so-and-so was that bad and actually came out, then I have not reached that bad state yet. So maybe that was him and this is me, which for me, I say, is bad information also sometimes. But it depends with how you package your information, because we have realized that most of the people who have the information are supposed to be the enforcers of the same. And so they either are misinformed or they don't get the whole information as they carry out on the knowledge or education part. So it is paramount that when we go out to educate, or give knowledge or share knowledge concerning the truth that we know concerning drug substances abuse or trafficking, then we know exactly what we are saying about. Do your research of the same thing. If it is, let's say, most of the youth now talk about bang, and you know the misconception that bang, once you use marijuana, then you have energy, you can work hard, or you can calculate, you can do maths, you become smarter, whichever it is that has been laid out there. But then if you are the one that they are going to ask for confirmation from, if it is true, then you basically need to have the whole facts. Have your facts right and actually demystify the myth for them, that they would know that this is because of this, so that it is, you go all the way and not give half facts or half truths based on what you know. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you so much, Ishmael, about the truth, the information the youths are getting. And this just tells us that maybe we need to do more of awareness creation so that they are more informed of the truth that is happening. So to our viewers, thank you so much again for viewing us. But we are asking that you continue following us on our Blue Cross page and share with your friends and families. Daniel, how can we control, reduce, or rather stop maybe the misinformation going around about alcohol and substance abuse that maybe is infiltrated in the prevention field?
Thank you very much. I think it is the first thing would be it is very important for people who are listening, and if the people who are listening will have the opportunity to talk to others, it is very important for people to understand that there is a lot of fake news or misinformation out there. So at the individual level, it is very important that people understand that there is a lot of misinformation out there. And so if there is misinformation, then the question becomes, one must ask themselves is, as an individual, what should I feed my mind? Where should I get the information? And I know Shem has done a good job in going into the detail of that. But also now at the level at which the Alcohol Control Policy Network operates, our major interest is in, because a lot of this misinformation is also done through social media marketing, through mainstream media marketing, in an attempt to glamorize alcohol. So it is very important for stakeholders, or organizations and individuals who are working within this space to pull together and to ensure that the information that is given out there to children, to young people, in form of adverts, in form of marketing and so forth, does not give misleading information. And part of what we have done to address this is that in the alcohol control policies that has now been devolved to the alcohol control laws that have now been devolved to the different counties, it is marketing is one of the key issues, because if we're able to address that marketing and not allow the industry or the alcohol industry to peddle misinformation and to give falsified facts about alcohol, then it will be possible to spread misinformation about alcohol. And I think it is the same thing about drugs. Where do we get our information? What is it that we can do to stop that? And one of the ways is, if there's any way, either via online or via the mainstream media, that this thing is being peddled, then we must arrest it at that point. So for me, and for the Alcohol Control Policy Network, it is very important that we address marketing, because that way we'll be able to stop that information from getting to the masses. Thank you. Wam?
Thank you so much, Daniel. Wilkister, any idea on how we can control misinformation?
One thing I can say, or two things that I can say about it is, like, for us, for the schools, like, for the schools, I think it's as Shem was saying about some of the schools use these recovered addicts. So I think before you just let someone into your school, I think these teachers should assess these people that they're inviting to come to talk to these young people, because some of them can come with information which is misleading. So I think it's good, like, they should be certified from NACAD or something, like you have a document showing you're certified to come talk to these young people. And apart from that, again, I think there should be some policies in schools that can guide all this that we are talking about. So I think with that, it can help control and even reduce this issue we are talking about.
Okay, thank you so much, Wilkister. This question goes especially directly to Daniel. What are some of the policies that you have developed to help in promoting or enhancing knowledge?
Thank you very much. I think I must clarify that the Alcohol Control Policy Network does not develop policies for the country per se, but works with policymakers, works with government institutions, so that we can promote these policies and help in developing the policies, because the laws of the land, I mean, we all know who's responsible of developing policies and the laws of the land. But generally, the Alcohol Control Policy Network has worked to support in the development of the Alcohol Control Act that has currently been devolved in the counties. The Alcohol Control Policy Network has worked together with NACADA also in developing the draft alcohol and drug abuse policy, which is currently on its way for cabinet review. The Alcohol Control Policy Network has worked with other stakeholders in developing the East Africa drug policy, and the EAC drug policy and the AU plan of action have actually informed what we currently suggest to counties and suggest to some of the government institutions that we work with. But it is very important to emphasize that we normally get the stakeholders that we work with to emphasize on the best buys, the policy options that are necessary and will be effective for the control of alcohol. And in specific regard to the spread, policies that touch on the spread of misinformation, I had mentioned it earlier, we work a lot to make sure that promotion and marketing of alcoholic products is controlled. Thank you. Wam? Sorry, Wam, we can't hear you. Oh, so I think you're mute. You're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Shem, kindly give us your suggestions on how to improve on the strategies of promoting knowledge. You are muted.
Yes, unmute me. Thank you. Thank you, Wamaya. First of all, I want to say that knowledge is power, and knowledge is really important and essential. And even as the theme of this year is better knowledge for better care, it is good to have knowledge. The Bible says, I think in Hosea 4:6, that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And little knowledge is also bad. I mean, I can't say it's a good knowledge, because when you get little knowledge, then you go out misinforming people. But also what we need to do is to educate, inform, sensitize the masses. And if possible, then I would say we need to demonstrate through various mediums, either art, like we have seen our youth do, drama, music, dance, poems, that ways that they have to just pass this knowledge. And it can be both written or spoken, print or media, and this is the only way that we can control or reduce or stop misinformation. Making right information available basically is the way. But also we need to learn from what we have worked, and improve on it, and then also learn from what has not worked, and maybe discard it or just find a better way of doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wams.
Thank you so much. Wilkister, your suggestions?
I think Shem has said what I wanted to say, but what I can add is that we also involve, yes, like what we are doing, let us involve these young people more, because they themselves have this. So we should, as much as we are doing this, we should always involve these young people, and to get to understand from them the knowledge that they have, and then correct them from the knowledge that they have, which is wrong, and then give them the right message. And yeah, and I can add on media. What these young people see is what they want to practice more. And at adolescents, like even like right now, back at home, I'm sure most of them, apart from reading, they are watching or they are in social media. So we can use this mass media more, in a way that will attract them, and then they get this information.
Thank you, Wilkister. Daniel, can you please maybe talk to our viewers? What advice can you give our viewers concerning the alcohol and substance abuse?
What is coming out very strongly today is that there is a lot of misinformation out there. And like the theme says, for us to receive better care, we must be better knowledgeable. So we must have more information. We must take the responsibility to inform ourselves on what alcohol is about, inform ourselves on the different drugs. What are the effects that they have on us? What do they have? What effects do they have at the developmental level? What is it that I can do as an individual to protect myself from alcohol? So it is very important that we are very careful about misinformation. Like I remember during the COVID times, the World Health Organization branded it as an infodemic. So that means there's a lot of information being peddled out there. The question now for every individual is what is right and what is wrong. So let us do our best to inform ourselves. Let us do our best to protect ourselves. And like the speakers or the panelists have mentioned earlier, whatever you feed yourself with is like garbage in, garbage out. Whatever information you get in, it will manifest in your behavior and in how you react when you're confronted with drugs or with alcohol and so forth. Wam?
Did she leave again?
Yeah. So Wam, I don't know if you got me clearly.
Sorry. We had a problem with our connection. This thing sometimes is so annoying, but I hope our viewers heard you very clearly. Ishmael, you're cutting short.
Thank you, Wamaya. It's very important that also for me, it's not that we wait for a platform that is marking any day so that we are able to take action. So like now, this is IDADA and it's worldwide, then we talk about it. But we can make it a day-to-day or a live kind of walking experience that we talk about this. So it is up to all of us to spread the knowledge about the harmful use of substances within our communities. It's up to us. And if we do not educate those around us, we are in danger of falling victims ourselves. And soon enough, either you might say that it is my neighbor's son or my neighbor's husband or my brother's cousin, whatever it is, but you will be invited to contribute to a funeral at the end, that you will still have to play a part in a life that you didn't participate in life. So celebrate life. That is basically what I would want to say. We celebrate life, know your power to stay safe and sober from a substance abuse kind of environment or society. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ishmael. Wilkister?
For me, what we can say is, what we can say, I'll just continue. What we can say, like, some of us in this field of prevention can feel whatever we are doing is not enough, and like it's not we are not seeing the fruits immediately, but know that even as much as you're talking to these young people, there's one or two who will listen to us. So let's not tire, let's continue doing this. And also, let's be good role models for these young people. We have young siblings back at home, we have neighbors, we have relatives. Let's start from there, let's talk to them, and let's give them the support that they need, and even give them this information. Let's not shy from talking about substance abuse and drugs to these young people. And also, the difference starts with you. That difference you want to see around you, a world free of drug and substance abuse, it starts with you. So let's continue talking about it in our day-to-day lives, so that with time it will yield fruits and we'll see the difference that we want to see. So that is all I can say. Thank you.
Hello, so I'm gonna invite our child guest for today. Lona Blues, who is going to read for us the speech. Lona Blues, karibu sana. Tell us your name, your age, and which school you go to. Then you can go ahead.
I'm Lona Blues from Kasagam. I'm 16. Okay, all protocol observed. Good afternoon. My name is Lona Blues, a member of Blue Cross Club. I'm delighted to join the whole world in celebrating the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. This day gives us opportunity to express the determination to strengthen action and cooperation to achieve the goals of an international society free from drugs. This year's celebration has come in a time when the whole world is facing hard time with the outbreak of COVID-19. This pandemic has resulted into new problems that are now faced in our society, where the youth are more affected. There is rise in teenage pregnancy, broken families. Youths are almost falling victim of gender-based violence and engaging themselves in using alcohol and drugs as a result of youth being idle at home. This year, approximately 500 young people under the age of 21 die as a result of underage drinking. This includes about 1,900 deaths. Crash sales, 1,600 deaths as a result of alcohol, bans, and drugs. Yet drinking continues to be widespread among adolescents, as shown by nationwide survey done by Canada, as well as studies in small populations. The theme of this year, better knowledge for better care. It emphasizes the need to improve understanding of the world, drug problems, and how it turns better knowledge foster greater international cooperation for interpreting its impact on health, governance, and security. The field dealing with alcohol and drug problems has been faced with difficulties in realizing the global because of a lot of misinformation being spread about the drug issues. This has disadvantaged a lot of the effort of The field dealing with the alcohol and drug problem has been faced with difficulties in releasing their goals because of a lot of information being spread about the drug issues. This has disadvantaged aiming at improving our understanding, better knowledge on alcohol and drug problems and how to fight it. People are spreading a lot of myths and misconceptions about alcohol and drugs, For instance, only hard drugs like cocaine are addictive. This is not true, as all drugs are addictive. Alcohol and marijuana are also addictive as well. Even drugs prescribed by a doctor can lead to addiction. So be careful to follow your doctor's direction. Secondly, teenagers are too young to get addicted. This is a lie. Addiction can happen at any age. Even unborn children can get addicted because of their mother's drug use. Bang performance in exams. This belief is based on the abnormal temporarily focus that bank can place in a user. Research has shown that bank impairs concentration, motivation, and effectiveness, and also causes lot of short-term memory and trouble with thinking. Problem solving and learning. Effect of ban can last for a long time even after stopping usage. Those who are advertising alcoholic drinks are also fueling the spread of misinformation. As during the advertisement, they only tell us the perceived good benefit of those drinks, but they say nothing about the side effects, the harm that may be caused by those drinks. They are only concerned about making profit, but not about the lives of the buyers. They even sell alcohol to the underage. Well, there are so many, I cannot be in a position to mention all. There is need to improve the knowledge, understanding, and clearing up all the misinformation, only to urge individuals, NGOs, and government agencies to come up and develop new and creative strategies that will better the promotion of knowledge and dealing with the drugs problem. In promotion of knowledge and understanding, I want to thank Blue Cross as an organization which has been in the forefront in empowering young people in schools and communities through life skills, which has enabled them to live drug-free lifestyle. We have been taken through different lessons on alcohol and drug abuse. This has changed our lives so much. While we also use the knowledge we have got out of it to educate other young boys and girls, especially who live in slums of Nyalenda, Obunga, and Manyat. I call upon those youths who have been empowered with the correct knowledge